Asher, I would like to share something with you. It's a result I've had. So while we were doing our exciting day of planning, one of the things that came up for me was something of a practice. I was thinking about spiritual practices that I liked, that made me happy and worked for me. And I realized something, that there was a morning time before anyone gets up, except for maybe Jenny who's off to work, where I whiteboard. And what I do, I'm just sharing my process with you, it's just a process, is that I pretend I'm talking to people. And so I've gotten some really good results. Like I get some really good downloads and exciting energy by walking around, whiteboarding, and kind of being a madman. But you gotta understand, no one's here to see me. And so recently on the Warrior software, they have something called the Daily 4 that they've introduced. It's something that Garrett started for the ladies in the BMR side, the Big Money Stylists, BMS. And so what he taught them to do to build their marketing every day was to do a blog every day, to do an audio, a podcast every day, to do a Facebook Live, a video every day, and something else. I don't know. So there were 4, right? Oh, an email or a text, okay? So every day they built themselves by going out into the world. And then they, interestingly, because they were a company called Beaded Rose, right? Which is those little hair extensions they beaded in. And they're making huge money on that right now down in California and everywhere. Well, hopefully I'll get Amethyst into this soon when she becomes a hairdresser. Anyways, they have, you have to spend an hour a day practicing on your head dummy, an hour a day, doing your beaded rose. You practice every day. And it's funny, in the training with Garrett, he has talked that the people who succeed and the people who don't, like if he's someone who succeeds, someone who's succeeding, making money, and someone who doesn't, and he says he's gotten the science down, he says if you come to him and say, hey, I'm not succeeding, he's all like, okay, so you're not doing your Daily 4 and you're not practicing on your doll head. And he says it's 100%. Like if you are doing those things, you're succeeding. If you aren't, you aren't. So that's pretty cool, because what that does for me is it allows that I can identify daily practices that if I put my focus on doing them well, then I'm going to succeed, right? So on the new software, they've introduced the Daily 4. Now he's told us as certified traders to do the Daily 4 as well, blog every day, a text every day. You know, we have the core 4 for ourselves, body, being, balance, and business, but the Daily 4 is your business practice out into the world, which is basically every day just practicing your message, right? And so it hit me recently, and this is why I'm excited to show this to you, because it's just excited that the software came up with the little, Daily 4 items, and then the beaded, the hair practice every day. And it's there, which isn't really useful to us certified trainers or Warrior, but I started hitting it, and I realized that for me, my practice on the beaded head row was to practice teaching on a whiteboard to an audience, right? And I was telling Jenny that what really works for me is doing that in the morning. Really works for me doing that in the morning. And so I'm sharing that with you because it's something, 2 reasons, is that you might find it useful, right? And as I was doing today's thing, I really came up with something pretty cool. And it reminded me of what Linda was talking about yesterday, and it reminded me of something that Jenny has been talking about recently as well. And she had this frame. She called it experience and accomplishment, and as if they were separate. But basically she's talking about the idea of 2 different experiences. One is like a free experience. I give you a Lego that's been built of a car, right? Versus you build the Lego of a car. And so she's done some studies, Jenny did, in the dopamine centers of our minds. And guess what? It's obvious, right? The dopamine you get when someone gives you something free. You get a dopamine. That's awesome. Thank you for the car, you might say. That's cool. But here's the fucking piece. You get more dopamine dump, a bigger drug dump, yeah, when you make it yourself. And so that's just really cool to understand. Now, obviously, I think that is a wiring of our evolutionary principles for a very specific reason, right? If we just sat around, we had to be good at receiving because we're mammals, we're all in tribes. So when someone helps you, you have to be good at receiving help. And if you don't get a reward for it, you push people away and then you would fuck yourself, right? Makes sense, right? But you also have to be good at doing shit, like going and hunting, right? So if I come home and I give you a steak, you're like, thank you, that feels good, appreciate that. But if you go out and hunt it, which you have to do to survive as humans and tribes, right? You gotta go hunt it, then of course what? You gotta get another dopamine dump to reward you for that. When you look at it this way, it's very frustrating because sometimes it looks like we're just little bags of rewards and not rewards. Okay, so in that context, this morning's whiteboard madness, which is behind me, and I don't want you to try to decipher it because it'll be very confusing, but I'll point out the lesson I learned because I went through it and it really struck me as genius and useful to me. It really struck me as genius and useful. And it made me think of what Linda was talking about with accomplishment last night. And I mapped something that I didn't know existed in me. And I just want to excitedly share it with you. Okay? So I'm going to share that with you. So I'm going to start with, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to call this the parent-child dynamic, okay? This is the parent-child dynamic. So this I represents you seeing something that a kid does, okay? And I came up with 3. I see a little kid. Now, I'm going to a little kid, so just think a little toddler, right? Maybe I see a little kid hit Sally, his sister. So I see that. And then I see maybe he's about to fall down some stairs. That's the second one. And then I see him crawl under the sink and he's about to drink some Drano, right? Okay, so the trigger is that I see him do these, right? Now remember what a trigger is, right? A trigger is really just an input, so I did that over here, of information. So it's either you see something, feel something, or think something, an input, and then you have a reaction to it, okay? Input. All a trigger is an input. There could be a good trigger. You know, I could say, I love you. And you could go, wow, and have a reaction, right? Now, the important thing to understand about triggers is that there's an interpretive mechanism in our head. So I came up with this example. If someone comes up to me, right, and they slap me, so I would see the input and I would feel the slap. I'd get mad. I'd get super mad. I'd be like, rah, right? That would be my reaction. Now, consider this. You're driving. It's the middle of the night. It's late. You're trying to get home and you're getting tired and you're starting to think you're going to go, you might fall asleep. So what might you do? You might, wake up, Jason. Wake up, Jason. You might slap yourself, okay? So in both cases, the input, the slap is the same. But in one, if you slap me, I'm going to get mad. Natural, right? That's natural. But if I slap myself, same exact input of information, I wake up. So it's important to understand that our interpretive piece inside of that gives us so much power. So that's my spiel about triggers. So here's this trigger that happens. We see a child do something, right? And it's something that's probably bad, like hitting her sister, his sister, hurting her. Maybe falling down the stairs, hurting himself. Definitely hurting himself drinking Drano, right? So we swoop in, right? And what we want to do is change the behavior, okay? We want to change the behavior. Whatever's happening, we want to change it. For their good, but we want to change it. Stop beating your sister Sally, okay? Careful, you're going to fall down the stairs. You're going to break your neck. And don't drink the Drano, you're going to die. Okay? I'm going to grab some coffee. So hold on a sec. So what you're doing with this is a change in behavior. You're acting in some way you want them, they're acting in some way you want them to change. So here's what's cool. What this really is then, I don't know if you can see this word, is what it sparks is something called disapproval, right? Which unfortunately leads to something called shame. So think about it. You are honestly disapproving of the child hitting Sally, falling down the stairs, or drinking Drano. You're disapproving of them. That's a natural dynamic. It's real. I disapprove, and I'm going to try to change your behavior. But it's within the concept of disapproval, which leads so much to shame, right? But this is the parent-child dynamic. This is the parent-child dynamic. You don't mean to shame them. You don't want them to get into that mode, right? But it's happening. It's just the way it works. Stop hitting your sister Sally, be careful, and don't drink the Drano. What comes under that is a sense of disapproval and shame. Now, on the other side of that is when they stop hitting Sally, when they get away from the stairs and they don't drink the Drano, what do? We encourage them. We say, good job for that, right? So what you see here is a very simple dualistic situation from a parent-child perspective, which is we encourage them on one side and we disapprove of them on the others. And we use this to change their behaviors, right? You change their behaviors. So, this is your situation. Now, and you can think about this. Some people, I know a brother of mine in the Warrior Network, his father was a tyrant, a literal psycho tyrant who beat him down and said, you're a piece of shit all the time. And my brother got strength from that. He lives a life of fuck you rebellion to his father, right? And it motivates him, like it works for him. I'm telling you, it gives him power. Like, I don't want to do it. His father's passed now, but it's power, right? Other people function much better on encouragement. Come along, come along, come on. You can do it. You're great. You're great. Now, you and I both, have our moments wherever we are in our life, and everyone we know, from Riley to Brendan to Jenny up in Amethyst. We know everyone. They have, there's times, obviously, when encouragement works. There's sometimes when disapproval works, right? Both work. We understand it. We lean one way or the other. I tend, like if you disapprove of me, I have a harder time. That doesn't work as well for me. Sometimes it does. There's a challenge way you can do it. Like if you get in my face, this is what I've discovered about myself. But if it's disapproval, I just tend to fucking wilt. I just go to shit. Now that's just the tendency of the way I built. If you encourage me and you tell me I can do it and you really believe in me, I probably can do anything, right? This is one of the reasons I have a little hard time in Warrior, right? Is because sometimes they like to use the disapproval. And the problem is, for me, it leads to this concept of shame. Okay, so here we are. This is the parent-child dynamic. And here's the problem. We carry that into our world, right? We're adults. And we carry it into our relationships with our partners, right? Someone is doing something that we don't like. And so when they talk to us, hey, pick up the laundry. Don't leave your socks on the floor. Do the dishes. Anything. It just doesn't matter. It always tends to revert us to the parent-child dynamic of, oh, give me a reward or disapprove of me. We always go back there. And it's same with coworkers, right? The way we treat our coworkers, maybe the way we treat our employees or way we are treated is this very in-depth parent-child dynamic, which operates under the encouragement disapproval dynamic, which works, right? But here's the thing. As Jed would say, right? This is a human child construct. This is a child construct. What would the adult construct be? And I'm going to tell you that I discovered it today in my talks this morning, and now I'm sharing it with you on a video. Okay? And the line I read was start to focus on helping people achieve results. That's all. So this changes the dynamic. Instead of me having an inherent judgment of the way you're behaving, i.e. saying, hey, it's good or bad, which is inherently judgmental, right? Instead, I go to a results-based conversation with you, which is, I have X result. That's my result. Jason has it, right? So you'll notice I use that at the beginning of this conversation. I said, the result that I'm having is that I'm feeling super good discovering that whiteboarding in the morning works for me. Notice I'm not telling you it works for you. Notice I'm not telling you anything about what you're doing. I'm simply sharing a result that I have, right? I'm sharing a result that I have, right? And so by doing this dynamic, this human adult dynamic, right? I lead you to something, right? Which is accomplishment, right? So I get up in the morning and I have accomplished a feeling of peace. I have accomplished that. And excitement by discovering that I whiteboard in the morning as practice for teaching and that it's working for me. It makes me excited. It gives me great ideas and I'm getting better. It's working for me. This is my result. And you can tell that I'm excited. I have accomplished that result. And I'm sharing with you my accomplishment. Right? And if you are interested in changing the results in your life, then I can help you based on the results that I have. So obviously I can't teach you about a result that I don't have. Right? But I can teach you results that I do have. And I could do it in this way, through a focus on helping you achieve results with no judgment. Right? Judge not. Judge not. I'm not saying good that you did this and bad that your current behavior. I don't give a fuck. I don't even have to have that conversation with you. You simply can come to me and say, hey, my results, I'm getting X minus 1 on my results. They're less than I want. You've got X results plus 2. That's pretty fucking nice. I like that. Right? So let's use an example so this makes sense, right? Maybe it's strength, body training strength. And you might say, I'm not very strong. No approval or approval in that. Like just a discernment. I am X amount of strong. That's the result I have. And it's X minus 1. So it's you can weigh it. You can let's use a specific example. X is going to be 10, right? And so you can lift 9 pounds. X minus 1. And you say, I desire to lift more. You, Jason, I can see you lift 12 pounds. You have a better result. You're stronger than I do. So I ask you, how did you get, you might ask me, how did I get there? Right? How did I accomplish this? And I could and so instead of me trying to change your behavior with an inherent judgment that you're right or wrong, I can simply focus on helping you achieve better results. In this case, 12 pounds. Do you see how that's, to me, this is mind-blowing, right? Because here, you're inherently changing your behavior as an outside impulse for them to get that reward, the dopamine reward. Whether you're being put down, disapproved, or approved, you're going for the reward. But remember what we learned, that the accomplishment reward the experience, it's experience of accomplishment and reception. There are two of them, right? I give you a Lego car, and you're going to get Y pieces of dopamine, right? But if you build the Lego car, let's say it's a super hard one, then you're going to get Y plus 10. And you'll feel better. And that's just a weird fucking thing that the head does. You're just going to feel better. So if I can help you achieve and accomplish, you're going to feel better. So if I, going back to this thing, if I teach you how to get stronger, if I show you what I did, and it does work for you, and you do it, and you get to 12, you can lift 12 pounds, or 12 weight, whatever that may be, you're going to have an internal, natural, inherent reward system inside you that will be for your fucking accomplishment that you did, not what you did to appease me. Boom! Are you getting this? I hope you are, because it's exciting as fuck to me. And I've lost my pen cap. It went flying. Anyways, Asher, this is what I discovered. This is my process. I'm excited to share it with you. I don't care what you do. I'm not trying to change your behavior. I'm just sharing something that's been really exciting to me. And also the process that I found something, I've accomplished something. I've found a process that works for me in the mornings. And that's this. And now I'm sharing it with you, and it had a little to do with the concept of what Linda was talking about last night, accomplishment. I love you. I wish the best for you. I use encouragement to help you. I try not to use disapproval. But what I really can do for you, and the best as a father that I have, is to focus on helping you achieve results, positive results in your life, so that you can have this natural inherent reward system, this Y plus 10 in your life, and feel great about your life. Son, I love you very much. I hope this was fun, entertaining, and maybe even useful in achieving some great results.